If you started Endacopia thinking it was just another stylish indie game, you've probably already realized that the game has way more layers than it seems. And that's exactly where a lot of people get stuck. After testing things out a lot and wrecking my brain, I put together 10 advanced tips that truly make a difference in your progression. This isn't basic stuff. These are those details that completely change how you play. So if you want to progress faster, make better decisions, and truly master Endacopia, stick around until the end because some of these tips will probably help you a lot. I'm Mary, and the video is about to start. If you're already exploring calmly, there's a very specific tip that I almost missed out on, and that is worth gold if you're into meta Easter eggs. On the toilet monster, there's a real password. Type exactly Cheshire. Yes, letter by letter, exactly as it's spelled. This is the right password, linked to the wall bank, and when you use it at the right moment, things click together the way the game expects. Now, here comes the part that caught me by surprise. If you type Cheshire too early, without having followed the normal story progress, the game doesn't just react differently, it punishes you in a genius way. The toilet monster enters a special sequence, and suddenly the game creator, Andyland, takes control of your mouse. It's as if Mello gets kidnapped right in front of you, and you just sit there, powerless to do anything, only watching. I tested this on purpose after discovering it, and the feeling is a strange mix of hilarious and mildly disturbing. It's not a common soft lock or an error message. It's the developer entering your session in a very conscious way, playing with the fourth wall and reminding you that he still runs the universe of the game. Few point-and-clicks dare to go this far in this type of interaction. My recommendation? If you want to see this meta reaction in full, try typing the password out of order just once, just to enjoy the chaos. Then go back the right way and use Cheshire when the game actually asks for it. That way you enjoy both sides, the creator's absurd joke and control, and the legitimate puzzle solution. Endacopia rewards those who tamper with the edges of design. First-person combat might feel a bit weird at first, especially because it strays quite a bit from the genre standard. But once you understand the timing, it stops feeling clunky and turns into one of the game's most satisfying mechanics. Here, just clicking away blindly won't help. You control the fists with the mouse, use the left click to attack and the right to block. But the real secret is observing the enemy's pattern. Many of them attack in well-defined sequences, and there is usually a vulnerability window after 2 or 3 strikes. If you learn to recognize this, combat changes completely. Another crucial point is managing your stamina. If you go around spamming punches, you'll exhaust yourself quickly and end up completely exposed. The ideal approach is to play calmly, hold block at the right moment, absorb the enemy's sequence, and only attack when you're certain their guard has opened. It's almost like a rhythm: defense, reading, counterattack. And this becomes even more important in bosses or longer encounters, where any mistake is truly punished. Therefore, it's totally worth using the first confrontations, like the clock one, to practice until this timing becomes automatic. When this clicks, combat stops being chaotic and turns into something completely under control. Listen to what I'm going to tell you because this will completely change your experience with Endacopia. Click on absolutely everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. That wall that looks purely decorative, click. The floor that seemingly has nothing, click. That object that looks totally irrelevant in the corner of the screen, click it too. And then click again, because sometimes the first interaction doesn't reveal everything that element has to offer. I learned this the hard way, playing the way we usually play modern adventure games, going straight to the point and focusing only on what seems relevant to solve the puzzles. But Endacopia is built on a completely different philosophy. The game breathes that spirit of classic edutainment, where obsessive exploration isn't just rewarded, it's practically mandatory if you want to extract everything the game has to offer. Animated backgrounds hide hilarious gags, seemingly innocent furniture holds secret animations, and important clues are disguised in the most improbable places. What impressed me the most was realizing how much content I almost missed on my first playthrough. There's so much hidden stuff that I'd say half the game's atmosphere and charm live precisely in these details that you only discover by clicking fearlessly. They are inside jokes, smart references, moments of humor that don't appear on the main path, items that seem useless but might be essential further down the road. It's as if the developers created two experiences in one: the game for those who rush through, and the complete game for those who stop to explore every pixel. So my advice is this: slow down. Don't gloss over anything. Don't assume something is merely decorative, and develop that wonderful habit of compulsively clicking on every inch of the screen. Yes, it will take longer to finish the game, but you'll discover a much richer, funnier, and more rewarding Endacopia. It's the kind of game that teaches you that the journey really is more important than the destination, and that the best secrets are hidden right where you least expect them. This game doesn't want the obvious solution. It wants you to think in a completely abstract way, sometimes literally outside the box. I spent quite a while trying to solve puzzles as if it were a classic point and click, and only started making real progress when I stopped looking for the right answer and started testing the absurd. The solutions almost never follow that conventional logic of combining item A with object B because it makes sense in the real world. Here, what seems nonsensical tends to be precisely the path. If you're stuck on a puzzle, try item combinations that look ridiculous. Talk to NPCs again while holding something specific in your inventory. Use objects in ways nobody taught you. More than once, I solved something just because I clicked on a weird spot with an item that had nothing to do with it. The creator himself sums this up in a simple and honestly perfect way. Keep an open mind until the aha hits. And that aha in Endacopia is different. It's not that moment of, of course, it was obvious. It's more of a, wait, did that actually work? The game rewards messy curiosity, not a progress checklist. The more you let go of rigid logic control, the more the design starts to make sense within its own universe. My practical tip: when you get stuck, don't just spin in circles with the same reasoning. Get up, come back with a cleared head, and try the most improbable combination that crosses your mind. Endacopia is the kind of adventure game that respects those who risk the strange. If you go in with a truly open mind, these puzzles stop being a barrier and turn into the best part of the experience. One of the craziest things I discovered in Endacopia was precisely this lamp secret, because it completely breaks the standard logic of point and clicks. Normally you interact once, grab the info, and move on. Not here. The game kind of plays with your patience and curiosity, and that's where a lot of people just let it slide. In the main hallway, those 3 lamps look like just part of the scenery, but if you start interacting repeatedly with each one of them, the dialogues gradually change. And it's not something obvious, because at first it just looks like random variation. But if you persist, you start to notice a pattern forming, as if the game were trying to tell you something in a very indirect way. The key moment is when you manage to form something close to underground with these dialogues. When that happens, the game basically rewards your stubbornness by opening a secret trapdoor right there in the hallway. And man, this isn't just any old little secret. It's the kind of content that completely changes the tone of the experience. This secret area with the surgeon and the bride is easily one of the most disturbing parts of the entire game. And the most interesting thing is to think that a lot of people will simply never see this. It's the kind of secret that reinforces how Endacopia likes to hide content in behaviors that go against the player's instinct. And to me, this type of design is what makes it stick in your head after you play. Look, I have to confess something. When I found that soccer ball in the room, I thought it was just another scenery detail, you know? One of those objects that are there just to give charm to the environment. But no, it's a full keep-uppers minigame, and it caught me completely off guard. I spent an absurd amount of time there, sitting in that room, trying to keep the ball in the air while the rest of the game waited patiently for me. And look, I don't regret a single minute. The tip is as follows. Grab the ball and start playing the Keep-Uppers minigame. The secret lies in the rhythm. This game has a pretty demanding timing, the kind that makes you sweat a little bit because every kick needs to land at the exact right moment or the ball drops and you're back to square one. But pay attention to this. When you reach around the 10th kick, maintaining the exact right rhythm, the music changes. And man, this change is like the game is cheering for you. It's a brilliant design detail because it works as a motivational nudge, telling you, keep going, you're on the right path. And here comes the part that's worth gold. Reach 100 kicks. I know, it sounds like an exaggeration, but there's a hidden medal waiting for whoever pulls off this feat. The game truly rewards your dedication, and this medal is one of those things that most players will never discover on their own, precisely because almost no one has the patience to keep doing keep-uppers for so long in a point-and-click. It's the kind of secret that turns a good game into something memorable, because it makes you feel like you truly know the game inside and out. The coolest part is that this little bit of fun practically turned into a challenge category on its own. Some people tackle keep-uppers as a serious personal challenge, competing for high numbers and treating it almost like an alternative speedrun. And it makes total sense. It's a minigame that demands concentration, consistency, and nerves of steel. So here's my recommendation. The next time you're exploring the room, don't ignore that ball. Sit down, find your rhythm, wait for the music to change, and go all the way to 100. The medal is yours, and the story to tell is too. Man, when I reached the combat against Clocky, I spent a while just staring at that piece of crap anthropomorphic clock staring back at me, thinking it was going to be just another weird puzzle in the game. But no, the combat works exactly like classic Punch-Out, just in first person. You hold the right mouse button to block and only attack in the right window. In the beginning, I was pressing everything in desperation, taking hits and wasting stamina for nothing. It was only when I stopped, breathed, and treated that like a real boxing match that things started to make sense. His pattern is quite rhythmic. He dishes out about 3 strikes in a row and then opens up that short vulnerability window. That's the moment you let go of the block and throw the punch. If you try to attack in the middle of his sequence, it's certain death. I lost a good few times trying to be a hero and retaliating too early. The golden tip is to count mentally. 1, 2, 3, and there you go. It sounds silly, but this precise timing turns the fight from a chaotic nightmare into an almost hypnotic dance. Another thing that really got me was stamina. In the old Punch-Out, you already knew that spamming punches was suicide, and here it's the exact same logic. Holding the block the whole time tires you out, and if you run out of breath at the wrong time, Clocky slices you up mercilessly. I learned to let go of the right button during intervals, recover a little bit, and only lock in again when I saw his hand telegraphing the strike. Conserving energy and having patience are worth more than any click spamming. This boss is one of the parts that hooked me the most in Endacopia, precisely because it strays from pure point-and-click and throws you into a pure timing mechanic. If you grew up with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out or anything in that style, you'll feel a strange nostalgia mixed with that cute horror of the game. Master the 3-strike rhythm, respect the stamina, and Clocky turns into just another broken clock in your path. Good luck out there, and don't give up on the first defeats. The feeling of clearing his clock afterwards is delicious. A tip that seems small but completely changes the rhythm of the beginning is this tip animation cut. You know that longer tutorial which you already understood the first time but the game insists on holding on to? Well, you can skip pretty much all of it, and the game doesn't make that clear at all. Right after you leave the wall gench, position your cursor in the bottom left corner of the screen and start clicking non-stop. It seems kind of random, almost like a bug or a desperate attempt by an impatient player, But it's not. The game simply allows you to break this sequence and move straight ahead. The most curious part is that this isn't just about saving time. When you discover this kind of thing, you start to realize that Endacopia has several intentional flaws or hidden shortcuts that reward those who test limits. It's almost as if the game were encouraging you not to play passively. To me, this is essential, especially if you're replaying or testing different paths. Cutting this tutorial makes the experience much more fluid and direct. And once you learn it, it's hard to go back to watching everything normally. It's that kind of detail that seems silly, but once you use it once, it becomes standard. You know those precious seconds you waste waiting for the screen to load after using an item or watching a cutscene? Well, I discovered you can practically eliminate this dead time with a simple but incredibly effective trick. And the best part? It's no crazy exploit. It's just a matter of smart mouse positioning and a tiny bit of timing. The tip is this. During scene transitions or cutscenes, especially those that happen after you use an important item like the plunger or interact with the wall bank, strategically position your mouse cursor right over the space where the inventory is going to appear. It sounds silly, but when the screen finishes loading, you already have your mouse in the right spot. Then you just hit ESC and boom! The inventory opens almost instantly, without that annoying wait, without clicking desperately. I tested this multiple times, and the difference is staggering, especially if you're trying to optimize your playtime or simply hate that feeling of being stuck waiting for the game to give you back control. It's the kind of thing that separates those who know the game superficially from those who truly understand how it works under the hood. And look, this trick works so naturally that it even feels like the developers left it on purpose as a small gift for those who pay attention to details. The coolest part is that this becomes practically second nature after a few tries. You start to anticipate where the inventory will show up, leave your mouse positioned, hit ESC at the exact moment, and keep the flow going without losing rhythm. For anyone who enjoys speedruns or simply wants a more fluid experience, this optimization is gold. So the next time you're navigating through Endacopia's scenes, remember this tip and make the most of every second you save. It seems like little, but it makes all the difference in the end. This one is the kind the game truly doesn't forgive. In the ventilation duct sections, there's a moment where a tentacle simply pops up and starts pulling Mello, and if you don't know exactly what to do, it's game over on the spot. No warning, no second chances. The first time this happens, you're likely not even going to fully understand what went down. But the secret is simple, and at the same time demands a quick reaction. You need to smash the A key, or any movement key, as fast as possible. It's not just pressing, it's literally spamming until the game releases you. The interesting thing here is that Endacopia heavily uses this type of sudden tension mechanic. It puts you into a calmer rhythm of exploration and out of nowhere demands an immediate reflex. And if you aren't prepared, you lose progress in a somewhat cruel way, which fits the game's mood quite well. Once you catch the timing, these parts stop being an unfair scare and turn into almost a reflex test that you already expect. Still, it's always good to keep an eye on the ducts because the game loves to catch you off guard when you start relaxing too much.